Oh, hi. This week, we're going to master the zipper tab. It's gonna happen. I have tried so many different ways and we're gonna really nail it down this week. I'm so tired of getting annoyed by how it looks. I just want it to look nice, so we're gonna make it look nice, come hell or high water. But first, let us prepare for battle. All right, let's get into it. So I've been doing a lot of noodling recently with bag design, like one of these little pyramid bags. This is my very first attempt. I just kind of basted it together. The joy I experienced figuring out how to make this shape, I was literally just holding a piece of fabric in my hand and just trying to manipulate it in a way, and it did the thing, and it was very exciting. I also took a stab at zipper on the front and adding a little wristlet. I think I'll add a wristlet to the bag we're making today. I really like how the color blocking turned out. I just really like mixing fabrics. I did the bagged out lining technique like I do on all my other bags. Boy, do I hate how it looks, so I gotta figure some other options out. But it was seeing just how beautiful these zipper tabs are on here that I decided I will go no further until I get this shit down. I feel like I came so close to getting these looking perfect when I did a commission for a dear friend of the channel, Carrie. I will link to her channel in the description, but she asked me to make some custom zipper pouches for some gifts she wanted to give for Christmas. I did a couple test runs before even making those bags, and still I didn't feel like I got quite there. They're better, but not quite there. Now, I'm not saying every bag I've ever made before is trash or anything. I've been happy with some of the results before. This is without any zipper tabs. This is the very first kind of bag I designed, and I really like how it came out. I think it looks pretty good, especially for a first attempt. I still have a couple of these left in my Etsy shop. And actually, speaking of my Etsy shop, I'm gonna make a code for y'all. I'll put that in the description and also type it here. So if you want a little extra discount, if there's something you've been eyeballing in my shop. But yeah, I don't think this looks awful or anything. Then we have the leveled up zipper pouches that have the boxed out corners. They're a little bit bigger, and I did start doing the zipper tabs, right? And I don't think these look awful. I can't consistently get them even looking this nice, and it's just been a pet peeve of mine while making these bags. So I just want to be happy with them instead of always being annoyed with how it comes out. And I'm sure this is just me overthinking how things go, but if I can streamline this part, then I won't be super fixated on this every single time I make a bag. So of these four, these are the ones that are left in my Etsy shop right now of this style, and I'm not wildly upset about these zipper tabs, but I know I can do better. Let's figure this out together. The missing component, I think, that I have realized from other random zipper bags that I have is that it doesn't attach to the side seam. I have this whole time thought it attached to the side seam, but that doesn't look like what's happening here. So I'm gonna piece a bag together in the same style I did this zipper pouch up here. So I'm using the same pattern. I have all the notes and measurements and everything for that on my Patreon page. It's for free. You don't have to donate to have access to it. I'm gonna get those main pieces put together and maybe make my wristlet strap, which is essentially an interfaced piece of the cotton I'm using for the bag, and fold it up almost like a bias tape. And then I'm also making a little tab for that out of the same fabric, and it's the same width, just much shorter. This is 2 inches long. And then, ooh. And then I have this little D-ring for the hardware. Keep it in pretty simple. I'm brand new to wristlets, so I don't want to immediately overwhelm myself when I'm already trying to really nail down how I do another aspect of bag making. Let me prep everything else. I'll show you what I'm working with, and then we'll start tackling the zipper. Okay? Okay, so I think my main issue is that I'm using 7-inch zippers. I have dozens and dozens of 7-inch zippers, so this is definitely a size I want to be mindful of. But the pattern I made is only 1/4 of an inch wider than the actual full length of the tape, because yes, it's a 7-inch zipper, but that's from metal stop to metal stop, where the tape goes an extra 3/4 of an inch both ends, so it's 8.5 inches long technically. Problem is I use a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Using 1/4, it's just not going to give me enough room with the hardware that I'm adding and the bulk of the interfacing and the multiple layers. I'm going to shorten the zipper. So I'm marking 1/4 inch in each end, and I'm marking from the top of the zigzags. Then I'm going to take my pinking shears, which make that zigzag effect happen. Of course, everything is right-handed, so if you're like, why are you holding it that way? It's because I'm a lefty, and nothing is ever made for lefties. So I'm going to line this up and have the top of the teeth here line up with the line that I marked. Like this. Same thing. So now if I lay my zipper down, I have a clear 1/2 inch either side here, which will take care of my seam allowance. Now to make the tabs. Normally when I make them, I just go a little oversized and reckless, I suppose, where I top stitch this down, and then once I have both tabs in place, then I trim things down, which is an insane way to do this, and I don't know why. I think it's just so there's less thinking involved. It doesn't look good when I do it that way. So let's be a little more precise about our actions. Also, always make sure your zipper actually opens and closes all the way. Nothing is more devastating than having a project finished and realizing that your zipper is all janky. To measure this out, my zipper is 1 inch wide, and as we have just figured out, the tab is 1/2 inch now that I've taken 1/4 off of each end. I'm essentially making a bias tape edge for this, meaning I have to double it once to get the top and bottom, but then double it one more time to get the inner folds, because we're going to make a double fold bias tape. So you basically got to quadruple the measurement. So this will be a total of 2 inches, right? Because 1/2 and 1/2 is 1 times 2 is 2. Cool. So I'm going to cut 2 strips that are 1 inch by 2 inch. Here's the tab I cut, and then I pressed it again like a binding, got some nice creases, pressed it in half, and then pressed those halves in half so it can fold over like these. I'm going to do that for both, obviously, because there's 2 ends to the zipper. Hold please. So now I'm going to line up the edge of the tape with this, do that first fold. So the halfway point is at the edge here, and then it's going to wrap around. So I'm just going to do a quick top stitch over here, and it should catch both sides of the tape, and then we'll have a nicely finished zipper. Well, once I do the other side as well. And I switched to my zipper foot so I can get the stitches right along the metal stop down here without shattering any needles, because that's always the goal, is to not shatter things, because it scares me every time. Okay, I was getting really annoyed trying to keep these ends together while putting this on here, so I just zigzagged the loose ends together. And now I won't want to blow my own brains out. There we go. Much better. Okay. Ta-da! Okay. I have high hopes here. So I'm going to start assembling this the same way I go about it in that video I linked earlier. I'll put it at the end card too, just so you don't have to go hunting for it if you want to watch that. But I'm going to line this up and then just stitch from zipper tab down to other zipper tab. Then I'll add the linings, and then I'll repeat that on the other side of the zipper. Okay, so I have both the lining and the outer fabrics. Yes, I color blocked both. I was doing a lot of noodling around yesterday, and this is just what I have to work with anyways. And as you can see, they're hanging out a little bit in, which was the goal, so things are going okay. Another little pet peeve of mine that I realize this type of zipper tab is gonna fix, which again is something no one's gonna go looking for, but you can see the underside of the zipper, like the ends of it in here. It's invisible from the outside, and you would literally have to be flipping the bag inside out to see that. But still, I like when everything has a really nice finish to it. And that's part of the skill building, baby. I can still be proud of the things I have made while wanting to improve upon them. Okay, so now I'm going to unfold each side. I have my outer layers together. I'm gonna stitch these right sides together. I box out my corners. Obviously, you don't have to be doing that for whatever bag you're adding zipper tabs to. And because I have a color block situation happening, I'm going to make sure those edges are lined up, because that's going to be noticeable from the outside for sure. And I want it to look real nice. And I'm going to do the same thing with the 2 lining layers, is line them up right sides together. As I'm stitching along these side seams, I'm going to make super sure that I'm not catching the zipper tab. Obviously, I'm going to be sewing on the wrong side of the fabric, but I'm going to get the needle like as close as I can to where the zipper tab is without actually catching it. I gotta do the thing that I don't like doing and be very patient and take things slowly. So I will do all the stitching for this. I'm gonna leave a gap at the bottom and box out the corners and do all the inside work, but then we will flip it out and see if my tactic has worked. I'm nervous, but I think I've got this. Oh, I almost forgot. I did sew the tab for my wristlet attachment. So I'm gonna put my D-ring on here, fold it over in half like this, and then tuck this into the side seam. I actually might stitch these layers down first because they went a little cockeyed while I was doing my first bag. So I'd rather like tack it down, have it be one less layer shifting around while I'm doing the rest of the stitching, and yeah, just drop it in like this and stitch it into the side seam. I have the strap almost ready to go. I'm gonna try to attach it in a different way, but that's not what we're focusing on right now. So I'm gonna put this together. I will check back in once it is time for the birthing process. Okay, before we do the birthing process on the bag, I just wanna show you what this ended up looking like. I did go a little too far in, so that's why you can see some unpicking that happened, but I course corrected and think we cleared it, so we'll see. Okay, we're gonna take another breather because I not only almost forgot to add the little tab with the D-ring on it, but also almost forgot to check that the zipper was open, and that would have been a bummer. Okay, let's flip this out. Ooh, I just got goosebumps. I'm nervous. You'd think the nerves wouldn't happen with how long I've been sewing, but it's part of what keeps it interesting for me. I feel like there's stakes. I'm not gonna look at the top yet. I'm gonna fix the corners, get those nice and boxed out. I got my D-ring on the side. Got my little point turner. All right, that's one looking pretty good. Oh, that one looks even better. Y'all, I think I did it. I think I did it. No, I definitely did it. Oh, and the I just made this. Excuse me. I have, you know, if you're in the same crafting groups on Facebook and TikTok and stuff that I am, there's been a lot of things about like being blessed with the perfect corner where you have two intersecting seams, and fucking nailed it on all 4 of them. How satisfying is that to look at? Oh my God, we did it. And I have chills. It looks so good. This looks professionally made. I'm gonna toot my own horn and give myself some credit and like, fuck it, hey. I'm gonna quickly put my strap together because that's the very last piece other than sewing up the lining because I have that gap at the bottom. Hopefully this doesn't ruin all the good sojo I have going because I'm very stubborn about teaching myself things. Okay, it's officially done. I'm happy with how the strap came out. I'm actually surprised how legit this feels. I wasn't sure what kind of material tends to be used for straps, but I just wanted it to look like the rest of the bag. So quilting cotton and some interfacing is what did the trick. And the tabs. I am so proud of this. And I hope any of this was helpful if you also struggle with this, because this is something that's bothered me since I started making bags. I think a couple years ago now, but this feels like a solid, effective solution to my problems. And I could not be more pleased. It's just one of those things that looking at it, it seems wild that I made this. It just seems properly done, you know? Anybody else get like that? Like I said, the pattern measurements and the notes I have about it are up on my Patreon, and those resources are available to everybody because of everyone that does support me on Patreon. It is such a game-changing thing in my life. I know some of y'all have been around for years, and I'm so thankful for each and every one of you because you're helping me do shit like this. I get to take the time and the resources and the skill building efforts to make stuff like this, and it's fucking incredible. So thank you all so much for giving me that. But that's gonna do it for me. I will see you back here with another video next Friday. Thank you so much for hanging out. Glory, glory, what a hell of a way to die.